Amy, just FYI, I know before you had done that nice step of adding the dial into the first slide, and obviously since it's a new one, it's no longer there.
Thank you. I had that thought at one point, and then it ran away from me.
Participant lines muted.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's call. We'll be getting started in 2 minutes. My name is Amy Thompson-Boyd, and I am our host for today. That means if you're having any trouble at all getting into the Blackboard room, you can reach out to me using instant messaging. And again, my name is Amy Thompson-Boyd. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tracking State-Based Systems Opportunities call. It is noon, so it is time to get started. If you're having any trouble getting into the Blackboard Collaborate room, you can reach out to me using instant messaging. My name is Amy Thompson-Boyd. And with that, I want to welcome everybody We've got a lot of information, a lot of great speakers, and to start us off, Lindsay, are you ready to go?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. On today's call, we'll be talking about how to document your work with your state-based system accounts. And as you know, we do this by tracking what are called opportunities in our Siebel database. I know that tracking can be confusing, sometimes frustrating, and oftentimes time-consuming, so I first want to start off by just thanking everyone for your dedication and your perseverance in learning how to do this and do it correctly, and for joining today. The purpose of today's training is to increase your knowledge and hopefully also everyone's comfort levels around how to track opportunities in Siebel this year in 2016. And by clarifying opportunity tracking, we're hoping we can also make it less frustrating and less time-consuming so you can be more efficient in how you update your accounts in Siebel. So we'll be talking about why it's important to document your work with your state-based system accounts, resources explaining how to do it, and changes in this process, what has changed since last year in 2015. We'll also be talking about what values are available in Siebel for tracking your work. However, we're not going to get into any technical aspects of Siebel, tickering, or how to do actual data entry in Siebel. Before we start, I also want to acknowledge that documentation of Siebel opportunities is done somewhat differently in different divisions. I know in some divisions, staff enter their information directly into Siebel, while in other divisions, staff capture this information on a spreadsheet, and then that's been entered by a support staff person into Siebel. So I just want to acknowledge that in case there's any references to Siebel, just to know that everyone's, you're still in the right training. And this really won't make any difference in this training since we'll only be talking about values to use to document the work. We won't be actually talking about the process of data entry to Siebel. Oh, and I'm sorry, I was far behind. This is today's agenda. We'll be talking about why tracking is important, the data capture standards, what's new this year, going through a sample scenario, and training and resources. And I want to thank our other speakers. My name is Lindsay Webster. Also, we're here with Sarah Schaefer, our Strategic Director for State and National Systems. Kathleen Conadris has kindly agreed to run through an example with us. Kathleen's a Health System Manager at State-Based Systems in South Atlantic Division. And then Amy Thompson-Boyd, who you also heard talking earlier, is going to review trainings and resources. So thank you all for joining. So first, let's start with talking about why. Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah, this is your part. I'm sorry, we're under Sarah. Thank you. This is your section. And Sarah, you might be on mute. Sarah, if you can hear me, I think you're still on mute.
Just hit *1 to come off of mute.
Sorry, am I off now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm going to cover the next few slides and start with why tracking is important. Documenting your work, your collaborations with state-based health systems is such an essential component of conducting your work. We have really two main purposes for documenting. We want to track what you are doing with your state-based accounts, and we also want to track our progress towards accomplishing our 2016 performance objectives. As we will discuss in a moment, the opportunity data that you put into Siebel is much more than adding up just the number of opportunities. The information that you provide in Siebel forms the backbone of our organizational knowledge about what is happening with your accounts. So where does that information go that you are tracking? The data that you put into Siebel is pulled into the account management reports. These reports form, again, the basis of our organizational knowledge about accounts and our progress towards meeting our performance objectives. This is important because it helps us to make informed decisions about our strategic direction, and ultimately the data leads to better strategy when working with our partners. There are many different reports and uses that come out of the data capture that you all do. As you know, we have monthly performance indicator account management reports. Our performance evaluation and our account plans are all informed with the data capture that you are doing. So what you put in is as good as what you get out. If it's not showing in a report, it's either not in Siebel or not updated to meet the report criteria. This is important so that your leadership is able to see what it is that we are accomplishing. The next slide is we're going to talk about benefits of strong data capture. To all of us, and to you particularly, strong data capture is a method to document and share your success with your managers and your colleagues. This helps inform your manager and overall leadership of the important work that you are accomplishing. The data capture benefits your state-based system accounts. It allows us to provide better service to the system and to work more strategically and work together as a team. It enables an account management team approach. This helps inform all of your colleagues of what you are doing and what your colleagues are also working on with that account. In the short term, knowing what opportunities or interventions ACS has pursued with the system in recent years is also very important. You're building relationships, you're implementing interventions. In the event that one of us is lucky enough to win the lottery and we leave ACS, we've got a document in this database that tells us what work has gone on with a particular account so that all of your important work doesn't go to waste. It helps ensure a smooth transition and a seamless transition when we have staff changes. So we want to maintain the history and the knowledge about an account to provide the best customer service. In the long term, over many years, it will be important to know the history of our work with state-based systems so that we can continue to build on it. Strong relationships with a partner are often the key to accomplishing our work. We need to know the organizational history to maintain and continue to build those relationships. Another overall benefit of strong data capture is to the mission itself overall. It allows us to track a big picture view of what's happening nationwide, by state, by market, by community. It allows us to document the most frequently implemented interventions, where those are being conducted, what types of interventions are the systems agreeing to do or not agreeing to do, what types of systems are doing what types of interventions, etc. It really paints that picture for us. This enables us to have some strategic planning, good strategic planning efforts. It allows us to evaluate and plan for better work. And it also supports our fundraising efforts. And the more fundraising we do, obviously the more mission that we are able to do. This is all connected, the work that we're doing, documenting our work in our 2016 performance objectives. It enables us to document that history. In Siebel, the opportunity type and initiative values are designed specifically to align with the state-based system strategies and performance objectives. The performance indicator account management reports compile all of the data that was captured by state-based systems managers. They are designed to track staff progress towards accomplishing your 2016 performance objectives. And Lindsay, I think you're up now to talk about the data capture standards.
Yes, thank you. So now that Sarah gave us great explanation of the importance of why we capture this information at Siebel, I want to talk some about the how to do that, how to know what it is you're tracking where. This is a screenshot of the first page of the document called the Opportunity Data Capture Standards, standard just being the standard of how you're supposed to document this work. And this is what I would consider the official how-to source. So the Opportunity Data Capture Standards are just that, the standards or guidelines on what information to enter into each individual Siebel field. The document belongs to and has been maintained by the Enterprise Business Intelligence and Analytics Department, That being said, I do want to stop and acknowledge that that department was restructured, I believe eliminated in the new staff changes a couple weeks ago. But I think it's in, my understanding is in process regarding who will be taking over the document and the standards. So it will still be maintained, it'll still be a standards document, it just might fall under a different department going forward. This is an enterprise-wide document, meaning that the information applies to cancer control and health systems, but also applies to all parts of ACS. So on the document, you may also notice some sections for corporate accounts and workplace accounts. And there's multiple ways to access the document. You can find it on the Enterprise Business Intelligence and Analytics SharePoint site. It's also on the State-Based Systems SharePoint site. And I included a link directly to the document if you're looking at the PowerPoint later on and want to capture that. And I can put that also in the chat box in a few minutes. I highly, highly recommend that you document, bookmark this document online as opposed to just printing it out. If you bookmark it in your web browser, you can always be there for easy access. We do make changes to the document throughout the year as we add new values or need to adjust the definitions. So because of these changes, I encourage everyone to always access it online and make sure you're using the most recent version. This is a screenshot of the page, the tab of the document that's called the Opportunity Fields tab. This tab, along with a field called Required Fields and Definitions, explain what should be documented in each field, each individual field on the Siebel Opportunity Record. So it lists all the fields you see in Siebel and explains what to document in that field, how to document it. It is very important to follow these standards to ensure everyone's documenting and tracking their work consistently. Obviously, we need the information to be consistent so that it is accurate and usable. This next screenshot, you'll see on the bottom, the tab is labeled State-Based, it's circled there in red. This tab shows only initiative fields that are available to the state-based vertical. So whereas before I mentioned this document applies to all parts of the enterprise, this specific tab is only for state-based work. So this tab hopefully is a little more user-friendly and easy to use because it applies only to the values available to your specific work. It also shows how each value maps back to the 2016 performance goals and high impact opportunities. Although I do need to give a caveat note here that since the high impact opportunities for 2016 were recently approved, I'm still in the process of updating this. So currently you'll see it's still aligned to 2015 goals and high impact opportunities, but that will be changing very soon. So to use this document, one key thing to note is that you can sort it depending on what category of work you're doing. So I know some of the feedback that I've heard is that it is still, even though we've condensed it, it's still a long list of initiative values to sort through to figure out what you need to use to document your work. So what we've done here is we created filters. So you can pick a specific filter here, and I know it's hard to read on the slide, but the buttons say like advocacy, revenue, colorectal, breast, and you can filter and choose just one of these buttons up here in blue with this white yellow circle. Pick one of these buttons and it'll show you only the initiative values that fall under that specific category. So just a way to filter down and look at a shorter list. You're trying to figure out what value to use. And then if you want to clear that filter after you're done, you check, there's a button here called a clear filter button, that circle here in the red. The red circle, you can just click on that and it'll show you again the whole long list of initiative values. So we hope that makes it a little more user-friendly. I also want to call out the frequently asked questions tab on the document. I highly encourage you to check here for any questions you have. It's also an evolving document, so as people have questions, we can add them to the FAQ tab. So that was the official instructions for where to go to look up your information. But I now want to just give you an overview of what we have changed or what's been updated for 2016. Before we get into exactly what is updated, I want to talk about why there were changes. So I mentioned earlier, I definitely heard concerns in the past regarding the complexities of documenting opportunities in Siebel, and I want to let you know that we are striving very hard to eliminate those challenges and make it as easy and straightforward as possible to document this work, to get in the table and document the work. Specifically, one of the concerns I have heard is people saying they don't know what initiative value to pick from the long list of values, instead of having to go through that long list to figure out and find what value fits the best. So one of our goals here was to streamline the process and reduce down that long list of values. That was one of the reasons behind this update. The other reason was for this change was to update and align the values available for tracking with the 2016 strategies for state-based and staff performance objectives. So we want to ensure that you have the correct values available to document your work now that we have those new updates to our goals and high impact opportunities. So talking about what was updated, this is the extremely high-level view, and I will get into more detail in a minute, but I want to give you the very high-level view of what's changed. So what we did is we updated the list of values that's in the opportunity type field and also a list on the opportunity initiative field. Under the initiative field, some of the values we added were new to track new strategies that are being conducted now that may not have been as visible, or we weren't tracking in 2015. There were also some values that were removed because they were no longer needed. The work that was no longer as high a priority, or we thought there was a better way to track it. There were some values that were condensed because they were either redundant or so similar we thought we can condense them together to make the list shorter. And there are some definitions that we updated just for greater clarity or to give some examples. So how were these updates determined? How do we know what to change? There, we had a work group that's composed of 2 state-based senior directors, strategy leads being Sarah and Greg Walker, and also myself as a data lead. And we went through and reviewed the long list of 2015 values and looked at the values and their definitions, looking to determine what values were no longer needed, it can be removed, what values were needed and we need to add, and any updates that we need to the definition. And then we reviewed this, the list and our edits prior to, solicited feedback from all the senior directors prior to doing that work, and also afterwards showed them the edits for any additional feedback. So tried very, very hard to get as much feedback as possible from staff in the field. And obviously you make sure it works for you. So getting into what actually was changed to the opportunity type field. Previously, this has not been a very high priority. It actually is a required field in Siebel, but previously this field wasn't used for reporting, so it didn't really have much of an impact regarding what you document here. Moving forward, it is a much more important field. We did add 5 different values to that field: breast, cervical, colorectal, HPV vaccination, and lung. And I also want to call out that you still also want to use or consider the values that are available that were there before that are still there: ACS, CAN, financial, and mission. Mission here, we're using this more as kind of a bit of a catch-all category. So if any of the opportunities that you're documenting don't fall into any of the above, if they're not breast, cervical, colorectal, HPV, lung, or they're not advocacy or revenue related, the mission is kind of your catch-all of everything else. So what you want to do is you want to pick the type of opportunity, the type value, whatever the opportunity is intended to impact. So for example, if your intervention you're working on is intended to increase breast cancer screening, then you would pick the value of breast. I do want to note that there's some additional values in that drop-down box. It's a fairly long box, a long list of values. Some of these are either old or used by other parts of the organization, so not really as relevant to the health systems, but perhaps used by, for example, corporate or a work site. So these are the most common values. These 8 are the most common ones that you probably do. And this is just a screenshot of where that field is, in case you're wondering where it was. It's the opportunity type right there. So one of the reasons we chose to update and make the opportunity type more of a visible, important field for reporting is that, again, because of the extremely long list of initiative values, we're trying to find a way to simplify that. You may have noticed when you're looking at the new values available for 2016 that the values no longer contain the name of a specific type of cancer. So previously, you may have seen a value, where the initiative value was CRC screen, client reminders. And what we've done is we've separated out the type of cancer from the type of intervention being done. So again, whereas last year you might have used the opportunity type of mission and then the value, CRP screen, client reminders. This year the opportunity type is colorectal and the initiative type is client reminders. So again, separating out the type of cancer you're trying to impact or cancer screening you're trying to impact from the actual intervention being done. And because we did that, we were able to remove a very, very long list of values in the initiative field and add a much smaller list. So this is my favorite slide because it shows the great change and how we're able to make things much more streamlined. So you'll see here on the left-hand section the values we added. A lot of these are evidence-based interventions. Again, just the name of the evidence-based intervention, not the name of the type of cancer. Again, the benefits of doing that, we're able to streamline the list. The list not only, would have not remained long, but it would have been even longer this year if we hadn't done this, because we also wanted this year to be able to track HPV vaccination, what type of interventions we're doing for HPV, and we wanted to be able to track any interventions being done for lung screening. The list would have been even longer, way longer, if we hadn't separated out the type of cancer from the type of intervention. This also enables us to track lateral work in more detail. So, for example, interventions we were doing before that were like the intervention of health communications. Previously, we weren't able to track what type of cancer that impacted. So now you're able to link to any type of cancer, from that list of breast, colorectal, HPV, etc. You're able to link that and the type of intervention being done. So it gives us much more detail of the type of work we're doing. And a great part about that is we'll have much better information, much better detail for tracking our 80 by 18 work. Previously, last year, you may recall we had a bit of a workaround where we wanted to make sure any colorectal work we did we were able to identify what that work was. So we had asked people to take an extra step of linking any opportunities that were impacting colorectal to what was called the 80 by 18 campaign using the ACS object ID field. That might sound confusing to many people, so the good news is you don't have to do that this year. We now have a much more streamlined, hopefully that makes it a much simpler process. You don't need to do anything different for tracking colorectal work. We'll be able to see that just by knowing that the opportunity type is colorectal. So I want to get now into some just specifics to walk through some of the specific initiative values that changed. I want to let you know these are new values that were added. The HPV Vaccination Steps Action Guide, and I'll talk about HPV some more in a minute. Advocacy Public Policy as a more generic value. Professional Education, CME, and Policy Forms. So these were all values that were added. There's some two values that were renamed, well, one of the two values that were renamed. The previous value of CRP Screen PC Primary Care Toolkit. My understanding is that tool has a new name, so we want to give it the more up-to-date name. So it's now CRP Screen Guide Primary Care. So again, the same type of work, but just updated name. And then previously there were 6 individual palliative care values, and we condensed that into one. So determined that we didn't need that level of breakdown, so we're now using one value for palliative care. Some additional changes. Here are values that were removed. We removed HPV vaccination general, and again I'll talk about HPV some more in a minute, but instead, quick overview, instead we'll be asking you to document the specific type of intervention you're doing as opposed to saying it was a general vaccination intervention. Also added value removed the value for HPV vaccination CDC grant. Instead of documenting the grant, again, use document the specific type of HPV work that you're doing, specific type of intervention. We removed the value of reducing disparities. No longer necessary to document when an intervention is targeting a disparate audience. Previously, we'd ask people to document a separate opportunity for that and decided that really was too cumbersome, so we wanted to remove that. If you are targeting a specific disparate audience, that might be something you want to note in the free text field. And we also removed the value of skin cancer awareness. If you do work regarding skin, you can document the specific type of intervention. So again, if you're doing skin awareness involving health communications or small media, track that specific type of intervention, and if you want to, you can note skin cancer in the free text field. More values are removed. Also remove tobacco tax. Instead, we can use the initiative ACS can support other. Remove Green American Smokeouts. Similar as some other values we talked about, you can use a specific type of intervention. So if it's Green American Smokeout, if what you're doing is actual health communications or small media, document it as such. And then again, in the free text field, you can note that Green American Smokeout in the free text. We remove guideline promotion. We actually consolidated this into health communications. So those are now one value of health communications. If you do any guideline promotion work, you can document it as health communications. For CME, continuing medical education, and the value of collaboration professional education, we merge those into one value of professional education CME. So condensing the list into one value there. And again, for palliative care policy form, we just made that, change that to be just a generic policy form. And if you're doing a palliative care policy form, you can document palliative care in the free text field. Or if you're doing any other type of policy form, you can document, use the value of policy form, and then document the type in the free text field if you want. And then we had a few definitions that were updated. Definitions for health communications, systems, practice, policy change, ACS can support other. And that's listed twice, systems, practice, policy change. So those definitions were updated just to be more inclusive and more clear. Regarding tracking HPV vaccination work, as HPV becomes a more widely used strategy, we want to make sure we're tracking it to a greater level of detail. And so what we're doing, we asked people this year to track the specific type of evidence-based intervention you're doing. You can use the opportunity type of HPV vaccination, and then the initiative will be whatever is the type of evidence-based intervention that you're doing. If you're working through the HPV Steps Action Guide with your systems and document that as the HPV Steps Action Guide, you do a specific opportunity for that, and then whatever additional interventions you decide as your group to do, because you're working with a guide, you may decide to do within specific evidence-based interventions. You can document those separately. I do want to touch quickly on the 2016 Performance Indicator Account Management Report. These reports are maintained by the Enterprise Business Intelligence and Analytics Department, and I have to, again, call out that that was changed with the new staff changes. So the reporting will now fall under the IT department. But there's still, Kim Alvarado is the person who works on these reports for the Performance Indicators report, and she's going to still work on this report, so it's in good hands. The report has been updated, or is being updated to accommodate the CBIL changes and these process changes. So it will include all the new opportunity types and the initiative values that we just reviewed, and it'll still pull in the opportunity records that were created in 2015 and are still opened, or any opportunity records that were created and the close date is null. So if you have any opportunities that you created in 2015, you don't need to do anything to adjust those. You don't need to change the values at all. They will just continue to come into these new reports if either the status is still open or the close date is blank. So no need to adjust those if you have any that are still in process. Kim Alvarado is also working on updating report categories to align with the new performance goals and new high impact opportunities. You might see that the categories will be updated slightly. And she's adding some new breakouts and new tabs to make the report more comprehensive, the information just more useful for staff management and account management purposes. So I think the new reports will be really useful and valuable. So that is an overview of the changes, and I'm now going to turn it over to Kathleen, who kindly agreed to walk us through an example.
Sure. Thank
you.
One of the accounts that I work with is CHQC, which is a quality improvement organization serving Virginia and Maryland. One of the identified ways to collaborate was through a webinar offered to providers in the area with healthcare organizations last summer, highlighting the FluFit. The presentation provided information and resources to implement a FluFit program in order to increase colorectal screening rates. As you can see here, in order to ensure key required and vital areas were populated in Siebel, I documented the following areas in accordance with the data standards. Since the collaboration was non-monetary in nature, this field was not populated under Ask Amount.
Can I interrupt for just a second? I'm wondering if you could maybe project a little bit more. We're getting a lot of comments in the chat, but it's difficult to hear you.
Sure. I have the phone like right up to my mouth. Is this any clearer for you?
It already sounds better to me. If we can get some confirmation in the chat that that's true for everyone or most of us. Yep, sounds good. Go ahead and continue. Thank you so much. Have you begun talking again? Because now we're not hearing anything. I have a feeling that
I'm here.
Pardon?
Can you all hear me?
Oh,
yep. I don't know what happened to me. Okay.
We're glad you're back.
Okay. All right. So hopefully everyone can hear me again. But did you want me to restart the example?
I think that would be best, yes.
Okay. All right. So for the example that I'm highlighting is a company called VHQC, which is a quality improvement organization that serves Virginia and Maryland. And one of the ways that was identified to collaborate was through a webinar that was offered to providers and area healthcare organizations last summer, highlighting the FluFit. The presentation provided information and resources to implement a FluFit program in order to increase colorectal screening rates. As you can see here, in order to ensure key required and vital areas were populated in Siebel, I documented the following areas in accordance with the data standards. Since the collaboration was non-monetary in nature, the field was not populated under Ask Amount. And then if you look within the data guide that was discussed earlier, under the colorectal button, the green arrow area will further highlight how I came to the opportunity code for the example with the FluFit section. And then last of all, under Siebel, under the Opportunity tab, you'll see where the orange arrows are, where the referenced information that was populated for that account was populated directly into Siebel, as well as the red asterisks for the required fields as well. And this is where all of the information was documented in accordance with what we have for our data standards.
Great. Thank you, Kathleen. That was really helpful to see it put in practice. So I'm going to turn it over now to Amy, who's going to talk about some of the trainings and resources available.
Hello, everybody. As you guys probably know, there's a lot of resources that help you do this work. And there are a lot of people in a lot of different departments that spend a ton of time trying to design and develop tools that will make the work easier in Siebel. Believe it or not, I counted it up last week, and there are no less than 5 different departments that collaborate on the Siebel data entry tool. And up until now, I know it's been a little bit of a game of hide and go seek to find those resources, at least the ones that are most relevant to state-based data. Well, seek no longer. I'm going to show you today where your Siebel resources will be available So no matter who develops them or no matter where they ultimately are housed, sorry, I just noticed we hadn't advanced the slides. No matter where they may be housed on SocietySource or Pathways or anywhere else for that matter, we're going to make sure that there are some links, there will be the link to that resource, all here on the Health Systems Learning page, which I think you're all familiar with, but we're going to take some time, do a little orientation on it. I'm going to show you some of the types of things that you'll be able to access from the Health Systems Learning page. Some of those links will take you to Pathways to register for webinars, or they might just be access to self-paced offerings or documents that have step-by-step guides. So let's go ahead. I'm going to stop talking. Okay, I lied. I'm going to talk a little bit more. I want you to know that this space is going to be dynamic. As we add things to it, it's going to look different. Maybe not tomorrow, but it will soon. We have a whole lineup of things we're going to be adding shortly. So just because there's maybe 4 things on there today, that doesn't mean that in 2 weeks you might not see that grow by leaps and bounds. So now I promise we'll stop talking and I'll actually show you what I'm talking about. Let me move my chat out of the way so you can see. Here we are in SocietySource. If you don't already know how to get to that Health Systems Learning page, you certainly should. It's so easy. All you need to do is go to the search box of SocietySource, Health Systems Learning. See, it's so simple that I can almost do both at the same time. Talk about it and type. Notice I said almost. When you use those keywords, the very first thing that pops up for you is the Health Systems Learning page. All you have to do is click on it and there you are. You can click up here on the yellow star to bookmark it or make it your favorite. If you're in Chrome, this is what it will look like. You can save it in any folder you may want to save it in. And then, sorry, hang on. There we go. And then hit done. It's that simple. I didn't hit done because I already have it bookmarked. Here's the Health Systems Learning page. A lot of great new stuff is here. What is really here, or what I'm really going to talk about, are the learning opportunities. So I clicked on the learning opportunity icon. And where you'll find all your CEBL resources is under Advance Your Skill. Now don't get stuck with the stuff on top. A lot of good stuff up there too. But when you scroll down, you're going to see, and this looks different since the last time I looked at it, so using CEBL in Health Systems section. At the very top, you'll see CEBL Introduction. So if you're brand new to ACS, or you don't have access to CEBL yet, you'll need to start there. And all you need to do, you don't need to find it to Pathways, just click on this link. And as you can see in a few short seconds, it's taking you directly to the list of CEBL Introduction course offerings. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see we're advancing through the years. You can see I've been doing this for quite a long time. And down at the bottom, you're going to get into the 2016 date. We'll make this go away. You're also going to see here under this 2016 opportunity tracking, you're going to see links directly to these recordings. This recording that I'm doing right now, or we're doing right now, is going to be available soon. And you'll be able to come here and just click on the correct one, and it will open up and start playing that recording for you. Lindsay and several of our speakers today have talked about the CEBL Data Capture Standards document and the opportunity map. When I click on this link, you'll see that it takes you directly there. So if you don't bookmark it or you can't remember where to go to find it, all you need to remember is the Health Systems Learning page. The last thing I wanted to show you, but it's, oh yeah it is. Sorry, see I told you it changed. I'm going to show you CEBL Data Capture steps. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And when you do that, you'll see that it opens up to step-by-step guides for different types of work that you may be doing in CEBL. Let's go ahead and open up the 80 by 2018 document. You can see that it is a one-page document that takes you through how your particular initiative or opportunity should look in Siebel. Not only does it show the opportunity map or that data capture standards document, but it also shows you how it should look in Siebel. And it also gives you the step-by-step instructions depending on if you're pre-meeting or post-meeting. This is an amazing document that will walk you right through the steps. And this is just one of many that exist to help you get your data into Siebel. I want to showcase this updating an account step-by-step guide. I don't love the way it's named because it's not incredibly intuitive for what you're going to see here. But this will take you all the way through the process, from linking yourself to an account team, to creating the opportunity, to adding an activity, literally step by step. And you don't have to go through the whole document. You can look at this as if it's a one-pager, even though it's so not a one-pager. You'll notice that there are 12 topics here, and all you have to do to get to any particular topic is click on the blue, and it drops you right into that section and helps you create, in this case, an activity. So this is a wonderful resource to make sure that you're able to create your opportunities and maintain your account for all of your relationships all the way through the process. So there's so much here, so much available for you. I'm going to make that go away now, and I am going to also point out that there are also some videos available. Again, when I click on this, I'm not going to because I don't want the video to start. So when I click on this, it would take me directly to a video that shows you how to set up an opportunity in Siebel. So if you want to watch me do it, and I promise I sound better on the video than I do today, sorry about that. Watch me do it. You can do it right next to me using this video. So all these great resources are available to you. Like I said, this section is going to be very dynamic. It's going to change. It's going to change a lot over the next couple of weeks. And then anything new that happens as far as health systems is concerned, and as far as you're concerned, state-based, will be right here, all in one place, easy to get to. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and get back to the deck. And we are going to jump into the Q&A section. Now, there has not been a lot of Q's, Lindsay. This has been a quiet group. So I'm going to cruise back to the top of my chat here, find some of my questions, and go ahead and ask them. However, if you have a question that you jotted down next to you, go ahead and throw it in chat right now. And by the time I get back down to the bottom of my list, I'm sure that we will have time to ask that question. So Lindsay and team, are you guys ready to answer some questions?
Yes.
The first one is, would tobacco fall under mission or law?
That's a really good question. To be honest, I had to think about that a while when I first read that. I knew previously our organization always would group those together, but just recently we've really started looking at those separately, just the issues of tobacco and lung cancer, since tobacco can impact more cancers than just lung. So my recommendation would be to actually use the type of mission. I think some people would argue both ways, but I think my recommendation is use the type of mission. If that changes, we'll of course let you know. But for now, do go with the type of mission. Thank you for that. It's a good question.
Excellent. I know the answer to this question. I should say I know half of the answer to this question. I'm pretty sure you told other groups you're going to post this PowerPoint. Can you confirm that and let us know where we can find it?
Yes, we're going to post it. Location, actually, Amy, is that something that is able to be posted on SocietySource or on the learning system?
Absolutely. Right answer. I love that answer. Perfect. You will find it where we were looking just now. The last question I think I have as a, not quite. Two more. For 2015 opportunities that won't come to fruition until 2016, should we leave them alone? It seems we would want to revise them to match new conventions so that they are tracked appropriately in 2016.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. Actually, I know it might seem a little crazy, but do leave them alone. You don't need to do any adjustment or any changes to the opportunities, even though the values have changed. And the reason for that is Kim Alvarado and the reporting team is going very far out of her way to make sure the values, the way they were set up in 2015 and the way they're set up now, to make sure they're all being pulled into the report. So because of the great way she's structuring the reports, it'll still pull in the opportunities, even if they were documented originally created in 2015. So you do not need to do any changes.
Cool. Has there been progress on being able to set up an account hierarchy in Siebel? My account, not mine, Raquel's account, still have many duplicates, which are mostly other office locations.
This is a great question. I'm going to have to defer to the ESAM team, the Enterprise Account Management team, regarding the tracking of duplicates in the hierarchy and the whole tickering system. So I'm going to ask them to answer that question, and when we post the questions from this training, we'll post it there.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, we have 15 more minutes dedicated to answering your questions. We have the experts on the line. Are there any other questions sitting out there waiting to be asked?
Amy, while we're waiting, can I add one more detail to the Raquel's question about the hierarchy of accounts? I guess I should have mentioned earlier that definitely is a priority. We definitely do want to get the system set up with the tickering system so that we're able to see what the hierarchy is. So I just want you to know that that definitely is a priority and something we're working on. It's just that the ESAM team is managing that process. That's why I can't speak to them as far as when that'll happen or the process for doing so. But it definitely is a high priority this year. So we'll let you know that we are working on it.
Cool. Well, I am not seeing any additional questions at this time. That doesn't mean your opportunity to ask questions is over. I know that everyone on this call today is absolutely available for ongoing questions as they come up. I know if you're like me, I need to think about things a little while before I absorb and am smart enough to ask questions. So feel free to reach out to Lindsay or myself. Either one of us will be able to get you the answers you need, even if we don't happen to be the person who will answer it. And we do have one more question that came in, which is why I was vamping, quite frankly. Quick one. It's a quick question. When you say use the free text field, do you mean the comments or description field? Doesn't matter.
Great question. To be honest, I'm trying to picture Siebel and forgetting which one it is. I guess my answer is it doesn't matter. As long as the field where you can type in the free text, because in those fields you can't report on them. So the important thing is if someone later on was looking at that account and want to know what took place, just that they be able to read that detail. But it's not a report. I'm sorry, they're not fields that are part of the report. So just as long as someone can see it in Siebel if they're looking at the opportunity. Great question though.
We do have another on my IM about the sales team feature. So that sales team field on an opportunity, when others are added to the sales team, does income show up on their performance report?
And I apologize. I was kind of looking through some of the other questions and I didn't see that one. So I'm sorry, Amy, can you read that one more time?
I can. Hang on, I need to pull it back up. I apologize. I was taking a look to see if someone was on the call that could answer it, but I didn't get through the list. So the question is, if there are additional people listed in the sales team field on an opportunity, will that income show up on their performance report?
So my understanding, and if Kim Alvarado is on this call, I might ask that she take herself off mute and jump in if needed. But my understanding is on their reports, if you are part of the sales team, it'll show up on the report but only if you're listed as the primary in that account, the person is leading that specific opportunity. Then on the report, it'll show up under, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of the column in the report, but it'll show up as a primary on that revenue ask. And then anyone who's on the sales team that's not leading it, is not the primary, it'll show up, but it'll be, I think it's called indirect is the name of the column, indirect revenue.
Yeah, it's actually shared credit now. Yeah, so the primary will get it as the direct revenue, and the non-primary team members will get it as the shared credit. But they will both get it. It will show up on both of their reports.
Great. Thank you, Kim.
I just want to fill in a little bit of a gap between description and comment. Andy's mentioned that description does display in the report, so it's a great one to use if you want to make sure you're able to see it on reports. I don't think comment does, so that's something to remember. Even though we don't report off of those fields, description displays, comment does not. We do have another question.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Andy. How much detail should be added in opportunity activity fields? My experience in previous company is the issue of too much info and the liability involved.
So great question. Right now, activities linked back to the opportunity, those are not being required to be documented organization-wide. I believe in some divisions you're kind of ahead of the game and they're starting to document activities. In other divisions, that work is not really being done. I know, especially divisions where people are still getting used to entering opportunities themselves, they're not ready to, may not be ready to track activities. So right now there are no nationwide or enterprise standards for capturing activities, at least for health systems for linked opportunities. So that's kind of up to you or up to your supervisor as far as what you should be entering in the activities and level of detail.
How and when should opportunities be renewed?
How and when? So renew would be when you work on an opportunity with the system and you complete that work and they have agreed to do it again another year or another time to re-up that work. So that's when you would create the opportunity, the new record, and the status would be renewed, as opposed to one. So I guess the short answer is if it's not a new type of work, but it's work that they're re-upping to do again, then the status is renewed.
Okay, I think that we've reached the end of our questions. Andy's made another great comment about the ticker field and working with eSAM folks to help clean up some of the true duplicates, and that the ticker field definitely can help organize multiple locations of the same account, as long as a ticker has been created for your priority account. I think that we've come to the end of your questions. I hope this was helpful for everybody. If you need further help or have other questions, please reach out to Lindsay or myself. We'll be more than happy to get you the answers you need. And definitely thanks to Andy. He had a cameo role today as a presenter. We appreciate his help in adding some details to the answers. So awesome job, everybody, and have a great week.